I'm Hannah, and I applied to Downing College, Cambridge for Classics in the October of 2018 with a deferred entrance. So I only really start uni in the September of this year. But I thought I'd take you a little bit through my process and how I really prepped for Oxbridge, my application, my interview, and happens after, and what I've done with my gap year to make sure that I'm prepared for uni this September this year. So I guess I'll start a little bit with prep. I started quite early, but varying experiences that she was able to use in her personal statement, even though she didn't apply to Oxbridge. And these were experiences that I kind of wanted to have as well. So in the summer before year 11 and the summer after year 11, I went to the same summer camp. And through that, I really had the ability to get a feel for the town. I was able to meet a lot of new people internationally, kind of find out a little bit about their ambitions and what they kind of wanted to do for uni, even at, such a young age. And kind of we had the opportunity to be lectured by the people who teach real students there and actually gain a perspective from actual students who are running the summer camp. So that was a really, really good experience that I was able to use in my personal statement when the time came. Also, interestingly enough, I stayed at Downing in the first year and Trinity Hall in the second year, and those are both the colleges that I was interviewed in when it actually came to my interview 2 years later or something like that. So that was just something that I could take off my mind already, kind of having an idea of what the town was like. So that's definitely something I'd recommend, even if it's not an open day, even if it's not for a specific event, just emailing admissions or emailing the head of your department and saying, hey, I'm coming to just have a look at the college, come and have a look at the uni, see if it's right for me. Would this be okay if you could give me a tour or something? Something as simple as that, and just reaching out is a really good idea. Just actually having a look at the uni, having a look at the college, making sure that it's the right fit for you is really important. Of course, you can also do that with open days or specific workshops that they have to offer, but make sure you do go. I know that it's very difficult and, these times nobody's really allowed to go anywhere, but even if it's just a virtual tour or watching a kind of my uni vlog, just having some kind of an idea of what, entails in those specific universities is a really good idea. I'd say though, prep for me started quite only seriously in the summer of year 12. That was when, I actively started reading things, looking at things for the purpose of including them in my personal statement or mentioning them in a potential interview. I would say though, make sure the enjoyment is still there, although it is something that, I'm sorry, you do have to do. I really enjoyed looking at stuff. I chose to focus on areas that I really was interested in, and interestingly, those also helped with like my A-levels. They also helped with EPQs and IRPs or whatever kind of presentations you have at the beginning of year 13. So if you are doing a subject or thinking of doing a subject in uni that really complements your A-levels, or your A-levels really complement that subject, really good for you, really play on that, because even in A-level exams, I did Latin, English and history, I was able to reference some of my classical knowledge in those exams for those marks as well. So make sure you're taking advantage of the links that your A-level subjects have to your potential future subjects when it comes to extra readings. I also attended a lot of seminars in the London unis. We're really lucky to be living so close to them, so really take advantage of that. All of this is online. All you need to do is look it up. I'm sure there are a lot of online lectures that you could have a look at, TED Talks, YouTube videos, podcasts. If you're like me and you don't really like reading big bodies of work for an extended period of time, I'd recommend just reading an introduction, making notes on what you kind of learned in that introduction. Reading articles is also really helpful because that enables you to look at different people's points of views, maybe reading reviews of the books that you've read or reading reviews of the articles to make sure that you're getting, a well-rounded understanding of what you're reading, even if you're not completely sure of what it is yet. Would definitely recommend that. Not everything that you read should be used in your personal statement, I should rather say. But, it's something that you have under your belt, something that you might be able to bring up if asked a question in an interview, and, just showing that you have a wide knowledge of, things. And that brings me on nicely to my second kind of mini topic, which is the application process and your personal statement. I'd say start as soon as possible. I had it at the back of my mind at probably the end of year 12. I was starting to ask my teachers specifically what kinds of things they're looking for in a personal statement, and that was always something that I was thinking about throughout the summer, but I didn't actually really start until the beginning of year 13. I'd say if you can put pen to paper as soon as possible, do, even if it's just some rough ideas, even if it's just bullet points, really, really start as soon as you can, because that will mean that you're not just playing a game of catch up once you do start year 13, because there are a lot of other things, that you have to worry about, and not only the application. It is a stressful year, so make sure that you are giving yourself as much opportunity as possible to be organised. I'd say, although reading and prep is really, really good for your personal statement, what the person reading your personal statement doesn't want to see is you just listing all of the things, I know everything about the subject that I want to learn. I know this and I know that and I know this, blah, 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 blah. Because what is there for them to teach you if you already know everything? I feel what they want more is you to show a real passion, but also a real fascination, a curiosity to learn more. So instead of saying, I know this, that, and the other, because maybe say something like, I'm really fascinated in this area. I'm excited to learn more. This really interests me. Think about the language that you're really using in your personal statement, because that's really important as well, how you deliver your passion. I think that's another thing that really needs to shine through, that you're a well-rounded person and that you're a passionate person. Those are the two things I think really need to shine through in your personal statement. Get as many people to read it as possible. People who know you well. So, for example, your teachers, your family, your friends, get them to read it. Make sure that they can verify that you are the person who really shines through in that personal statement, like your personality, who you are, really comes through. You can also get people who don't really know you that well to read it and ask them the type of person who they think really comes out in that writing, because that's important as well. The person who's reading it isn't going to know you that well, but you want to make sure that even if they don't know you that well, they have a really good understanding of who you are through your personal statement. I think a personal statement is definitely very important, and make sure you work hard on it. It won't just be done completely in one sitting. It is, it does take edits, it does take different drafts to really make sure that you're happy with it. I know there are a lot of rumours that fly around. They were flying around while I was applying that, Cambridge and Oxford don't really care about your personal statement. They only really care about your predicted grades and your GCSEs. But that's not really the case. They're looking for somebody who's really well-rounded. GCSEs were quite a while ago for some of you. I wouldn't worry too much if you didn't get the grades that, you really, really wanted. If you have a really, really strong personal statement, if you make sure that you have a good relationship to with your teachers so they can write you really good references, and you work hard for your predicted grades, those can really help lift you up. But yes, a really good personal statement that comes from you firsthand is really important as well. In terms of the application process, not only for Oxbridge, but for every uni, because you want every uni to get a sense of really who you are and why they should have you at their uni. What would you offer by you being there? So I'll talk a little bit about the interview process. It's different for everyone, so I don't really want to dwell too much on it, so I'll just give some general advice. As I said earlier, the two colleges that I stayed at ended up being the places that I was interviewed in, so that took a load off a little bit. It's a really, really intense day, I will not lie. It's nerve-wracking, but if you treat the interviews as just, lovely conversations you're having with people who are as passionate about a subject or as interested or even more interested or passionate about this subject than you are, just having really, really lovely conversations with people who have a shared interest with you is a really, really good experience. Just to have that opportunity to have that day, go in with a positive mindset. It is stressful. So for me, I had three interviews and one exam on the day, and I was having to move between different locations. It's hard, but make sure you're steady in yourself. Don't lose a sense of who you are. Be true to who you are. Don't just say what you think they want to hear. Think out loud. Let them know what your thought process is, because that will really help. Be organised, be prepared. Bring your personal statement. Read through your personal statement. Make sure you know exactly what's on there. Make sure that there's, no page left unturned, no stone left unturned. I'm sorry, but make sure you really, really know what's in your personal statement, so you're not caught out by any questions regarding it, because that's the one thing I guess you can revise for in terms of an interview, what they're going to ask you about your personal statement. I think one of the mistakes that I made wasn't actually on this specific interview day, but in terms of preparing for the interview, is that I took on too much whilst in preparation for my interview. So, I still was doing Guys and Dolls, I was still doing the play. In fact, we finished production on the Saturday. I had my interview on the Monday, which was quite stressful. I was still doing choir, still doing netball, still doing Lambda, still trying to, stay on top of my assignments and things. But really take advantage of the fact that your teachers are there for you. They're there to see you succeed in any way possible. Ask for extensions on your deadlines. Ask to be excused from your netball practice or your drama practice or whatever it is. Nobody's going to yell at you for wanting to look after yourself, and that is, in fact, the most important thing. Make sure your mental, physical, emotional health is there. Make sure that you are really, really looking after yourself, because it is a stressful time. Going into that interview, you need to make sure you're giving yourself the best possible opportunity to show the best version of yourself, and that's only possible through looking after yourself. So I would highly recommend that. Also, if I left that interview with anything, it's that I loved my subject. It's that I had a passion for my subject, and I chose the right thing to do. So really just try and stay positive, and the rest will carry you through. And finally, what kind of happens after the application? What happens once you get in, once you get your offer? And I think this is true for getting into any university. It's a very exciting thing, knowing where you're going next year, kind of having a direction to focus on and work to and aspire to. I'd say the important thing is to stay motivated in your schoolwork, as well as maybe extra reading. I wouldn't say keep hammering on at the same pace with extra reading as you did maybe in the summer before, but keep that flame burning a little bit. It's important to make sure that you are keeping kind of consistent with your love for the subject. I'm not saying it'll be easy, because, you've got A-levels and things, but even if it's just maybe 10 minutes a week to watch a YouTube video that has something to do with your subject, or, reading an article, just keep that flame burning, because, once those A-levels end, once those GCSEs, whatever, once they end and, you've got summer ahead of you, you're not wanting to just stay inside and prep for school again. You want to have a good time, so make sure that you've put yourself in the best position possible to be prepared for uni, in terms of just consistently, maybe not even that much, just consistently kind of looking over maybe some of your reading lists or whatever it is. This goes for gap year students. I know it's a little bit harder because you've got a whole year to kind of do this, but yeah, definitely stay consistent. I know it's hard, especially for me. I did a lot of traveling. I did visited my friends, did a lot of volunteering opportunities. So it's very easy to be caught up in that and kind of forget that, the brain still needs to be working in a kind of education lens. I definitely say keep reading, use the time you have wisely, but also give yourself a chance to rest. So one of the main reasons that I wanted to take a gap year is because you know pretty early on at the beginning of year 13 what kind of year you're going to have in terms of how much is expected of you, how, busy it will be, how, stressful it will be. And obviously all of the unis that I chose to apply to, I knew that they asked a lot of me, they wanted a lot of me. So what I wanted to ensure was that I had given myself enough time to recover from the stress of year 13, but also prepare for, whatever busyness was going to occur in the first years of uni. So I definitely thought a gap year was for me because, to recover and to prepare. Also, I had made a list of all of the things I wanted to do, and I just didn't have enough time in summer to do them. So I wanted to give myself a full year to really explore those different avenues. It was also a really good thing to talk about my personal statement because I could talk a little bit about my aspirations and how I was going to incorporate my subject into the gap year. If you really struggle with kind of self-discipline and maintaining workload, especially if you are taking a gap year, I'd recommend a tutor. I myself have a tutor. We have a Skype session an hour a week, and that's really helpful. Just because he holds me accountable, it means I'm at least doing something within a week, even if it's just an hour to really just prep for, going back into the education system. And yeah, I think that's pretty much about everything. If I had 4 things that I wanted you to take away from this, it would be probably know yourself, ask for help, stay focused, and take care of yourself. Look after your mental health, look after yourself, because it is going to be a stressful year. It is going to be stressful, but making sure you're in a good place mentally will help you so much more. And asking for that help, reaching out to people when you really, really do need it will help you so much and will get you where you want to be. So good luck, everyone. And if you have any more questions, feel free to email me. I'm happy for you to do that.